Let's go through LeetCode 3439 reschedule meeting for maximum free time. It gives us an event time, which means that is the maximum right end for those kind of events. So, and also an K. The K means we can move at most K meetings. And therefore, there are start time and end time. That is the meetings start and end time, and there is no overlapping for those meetings. And when we move, we should still keeping those kind of meetings relative orders, and we want to find what's the maximum um, free time. So we'll see the example one, right? So we have two choices. One choice is we put this green meeting right to here. So that's the first two free intervals they put together. So that this will be two, right? Another choice is that we put this yellow one to here. So that we have the free intervals here and here, right? So the maximum will be two. So this question is actually we consider the free intervals, right? So we'll see if uh, there are for example m meetings, right? So those kind of or m meetings, whatever, those kind of free intervals, we can consider there are m plus one, right? Intervals because there is one before the first one and another one at the end of the from the last end to the event event time, right? So we can consider for example there are n let's say there are n free intervals. This is this length plus one, right? And we want to see what's the maximum sum for the k plus one of each the sliding window of the k plus one, right? Um, it's possible this n is smaller, right? So that what this is kind of fixed window, a sliding window that is for example, intervals equals zeros, intervals smaller than n, right? Right, if interval is greater or equal to this size, right? This k plus one, then minus, and because if it doesn't, it may possible it's not going into it because the intervals free intervals may even smaller than k plus one. So we need to compare all of the possibilities. We instead put our current into if, right, which is we put the should outside if statement. So let's write code for this. We'll say we'll have a global result equals zero, right? And we'll have a current means that we're going to, this is a sliding window sum. And we are going to have n equals start time dot length plus one, right? So that means how many free intervals we have. And we need to find um, sliding window size, right? This size is k plus one, right? Because we can at most put a k plus one free intervals into this sliding window, right? So we can then write for int I equals zero, I smaller than n, I plus plus. So we should have current should plus equal to for the interval I, right? Interval I. How can we calculate this kind of interval? Um, we can write a help function for this, right? And so if current is greater equal to size, then if I is greater equal to size, right, then we should have current minus equal to interval um, I minus size. Okay. And we'll have result equals max dot max result and the current. In the end, just return result. So 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 this will be pretty much the structure, right? And interval length. How can we can have have function to get the interval length. Um, int interval, right? And we have an index, right? Index I, and possibly we can have a start time int and time, right? So we'll have we can have an int right because um start time of length. Then it will be we need also need the event time, right? Um, so we need the event and start and uh, so can also pass in this. So if this is then that will be event time. Um, otherwise it will be start time I, right? So what is about the left? Left will be for example I equals 0, right? Then that would be 0. Otherwise it would be event time I minus 1, right? Just return right minus left. Right? Not event time, end time. We can also write a Python code for this. Um, so we are going to have result current um, and the size equals result current is 0. This will be length start time plus 1 and k plus 1, right? For I in range and we're going to have we can put this here instead of data. Let me see. We can have a def, right? Uh, def event get a length and just have I index. Um, it's returning it. So um, so what we do is that we are going to have right equals I equals I minus one, right? Then and well, right equals event time if I equals n minus one, right? Else start and I left equals zero if I equals zero, else in time I minus one, right? Um, so current should plus equal to get length I, right? So we'll write if I is greater equal to size, then current should minus equal to get length I minus the size, right? So in the end, just a result equals max result current, and in the end, just a return result. This is return right minus that. This is a typical sliding window